All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another deep dive. Today, super special guest. I have with us Vlad, who is from zkBOB, right?
Yeah, hi everyone.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, I mean, how did you end up at zkBOB would be first, and then if you can tell us a little bit about, yeah, yourself and the company.
yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. And I would really like to give you as much details about zkBOB as possible. And first, like just a couple of things about me. I started uh, in general software engineering quite like I don't know, maybe more than 15 years ago or so, and maybe in 2015 or 2016, when I started to work more with cryptography and infosec and so on. Somehow, as many of people, I have heard about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Of course, it blew my mind, and I started to study some things, and I even made a small study group in my in the company I work for in that time, and I really liked it. And in 2018, I moved to in the so-called laboratory in a huge bank in Russia that was primarily focused on distributed ledger technology in general, how it can be applied to fintech and banking system specifically. Uh, and um, and last year, I decided to move to like Web3, like 100%, and join the zkBOB team as a cryptography developer and protocol developer. Um, so my main passion is, I think, like cryptography itself. Although I don't have like any specialty, like any. I didn't have any education in that
All good.
in cryptography at all. Yes, I'm a self-taught developer, as many developers are, and it's not that bad, I think, because like the industry changes several times in a decade, and then, everything we do with the zero knowledge stuff wasn't invented till maybe 2010. I think one of the oldest papers we cite all the time is KCG 10 for polynomial commitments, and it was like 10 means 2010. So it's like
Yep.
just recently. I couldn't even study it in the university or whatever because like it wasn't just there. So yeah, because like everyone tells you about these Byzantine generals from the 70s, David or whatever, but these things are not very much like applied. Studying it's more like an abstract, starting things that you start with and you develop. You have to dig in the recent papers, the recent development to like make some stuff that could really be shipped and built and delivered to the end users. So it's okay to study yourself and I don't know, read some forums and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's enough about me. And let's start about the kebab, right?
Yeah. So I mean, how did zkBOB get started? You came on relatively soon after the launch, I'm guessing, or was it still
I no,
stealth
I have joined the team like maybe several months before the launch.
mode? Okay.
The project itself has some like kind of complicated history, maybe not. I don't know. So there is another team called Zero Pool that is specialized in cryptography, and they had several versions of their protocol throughout the years. And there are other projects that have used the same. I think Tornado Cash also used some sort of zero poly development team results, and but everyone took some kind of their own individual approach. How do they want to make it more suited to a specific audience, and what features to choose, and how it's like positioned in the market. And so throughout the 2022, we have developed several features. We have optimized the like performance and here and there, and we try to make it a little bit more, maybe I would say, user friendly, and we try to make it more suitable for, I would say, everyday usage, which is kind of hard task, I would say. So I think let's start to like partition, like dissect with zkBOB exactly. So we have like two main parts. Part one is the token itself, the BOB token. It's a stable token, a stable coin, which is pegged to a US dollar. It's effectively, technically, it's pegged to USDC and BUSD stable coins, but it's pretty much the same as like US dollar. And the second part is the privacy protocol itself.
Yep.
So why do these two parts, like how do they, I don't know, coincide? Why do it doesn't matter that these are two parts? It happens to be that there are certain like activities where you benefit from like more liquidity. When you do something together, when you batch something, it's quite a lot of time when it's beneficial to every participant. So when you do anonymity stuff, when you, for example, transfer the money, it happens to be that when you batch these transactions, like everyone gains some better anonymity comparing to when you do it like by yourself, or if you have like some specific like tailored suite, I don't know, protocol or application. If you're the only user that uses this application or this protocol, oh no, no,
there's obviously no
network.
privacy, right?
Yeah. And pretty much the same like thing, but not for privacy, but with overall efficiency is for tokens itself. So liquidity is it's like a blood or water, I don't know, for protocols that involve any asset transfers, swaps, and so on. So like the more users use the same kind of asset, the better, because you have less friction, you have less inefficiencies, you don't have like to do swaps and so on. Like, and it's not like a blockchain thing. It used to be like this all the time, because if you have like a single currency for like group of people, it's much better than if this group of people is divided into groups and they have different currencies. This is why, I don't know, the euro was invented, or I don't know.
We don't need to debate the euro like here. This will be.
Yeah. I mean, like it's obvious that from the like general efficiency standpoint, having a overall like a common liquidity that is like higher than part of like every participant liquidity is better. So yes. And in this sense, it's in this way, it makes sense that you want to like gather as many users and as much liquidity in the same pool, and make it like a single currency, a single token that is operated within it.
So so we can start whiteboarding it out if that's cool. I think that'll probably help.
Yeah, okay. So as I said, there are like two parts, and all of course the only true backend system where we have is blockchain. Of course, we have right now we have two deployments. One of it is Polygon production, and another one is Optimism. So we have it's for the privacy pool, and we have some more deployment of the token itself. So the first part, as I said, you can draw it. I don't know. Do
Yeah,
you
so
want to draw it like as you want?
we'll start, so like let's say this is our user, right? He'll be
Yeah.
over here. And then he wants, the goal of the system is kind of you have a private stablecoin that you can trade around in a private manner, right? So
Yeah.
this is obviously his goal. So he would, I guess, we'll assume he's on Polygon over here. He would take, he has, what coins can you deposit on Polygon? USDC and
Yeah, the like, as I said, like the main idea is right now is to have everything swapped to Bob.
so he
Token.
would, so this is Bob token, right?
Yeah.
And then so Bob token, can he mint? He can mint Bob token, right? He just deposits USDC and he can mint it.
Not right now. Not right now. We're planning to introduce the CDPs like Maker and so on, where you can mint Bob tokens using Ethereum and other tokens. But right now you have to swap. So you have to.
Oh, okay. So there would be an AMM pool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there are an AMM pools, and which is like important thing, because like it's this is what makes BOB like stable.
So he gets
these pools.
So this would be like USDC / Bob, right?
Yeah.
And then so he would get so he would get some Bob token. So this is just an ERC20, right? And then how is this Bob token minted then now?
Right now, so there is some it's called inventory. So we have the unbalanced LP position where you have some. So at the very first moment when Bob was introduced, so we made some LP that had some Bob and some USDC. So everyone could try, could just trade and get some Bob token in exchange for USDC. So right now you can see there are several LPs where you could trade like Bob for some other token. And so every token in circulation, it is collateralized by some like USDC or whatever that is inside these LP positions. And the LP positions are governed by right now the governance multisig, which we're planning to, of course, to be widely participated by external users. Right now is like the participants are mainly members of two teams, zkBOB and Block Scout, and there is some more details about the specific contracts and specific chains where Bob is deployed and how much inventory there is. But like the most important thing is that like when you buy some Bob token, it doesn't like just mint out of thin air. There is a limited liquidity like of the inventory in the pools. So when you get one Bob, you
is it always backed by these stables though, like USDC and BUSD?
Right now, yes, yes, and it used to be backed just by USDC before the.
So, I mean, you could make it just pegged, right? Because I mean, if it's trades at a 1-to-1 ratio, it could be pegged. But I think this is the future design is where it's not USDC, right?
Yeah. The future design is like we would like to have. It's a very interesting topic, and it deserves a lot more time. But probably we'll have something like first of all we will have like a basket, and one more interesting thing, and which we would like to experiment with a lot is CDPs, with a collateralized debt position where you can mint, really like mint Bob from like out of thin air, but having like over collateralized position. So you would have to give some ETH, for example, and get some Bob tokens in return. Of course, this is a very I would say risky way in some, because like even a maker,
Yep.
DAI, they had pretty rough situations throughout the years when the price of Ethereum like goes lower, and you have these cascading liquidations and so on, and it has both like technical vulnerabilities can have, or it can have some like economical flaws that can ruin a lot of protocols. And as you may know, there are like, I don't know, maybe dozens of stable coins out there. They were just ruined for with a single with a single candle, I would say.
Yep.
And you can like I used to read these CoinGecko DeFi reviews, like it was in 2020, 2021, maybe they still doing it, and it like they have this a list of new stable coins with like fractional reserves, like full reserves, collateralized, under collateralized, whatever, and like all of them went to zero, like except maybe like few of them, like Frogs, Rye, Die, and maybe a few others.
Yep.
So it's a very rough territory that and it really it's really easy to fall into this like turkey syndrome when you feel like it's okay because yesterday was also okay, so tomorrow it will also be okay because your stable coin is always like around 1 USD, but something happens and it's zero. So yeah, CDPs is a very interesting thing, and we're really looking forward to experiment with it. Maybe they will come live in a month or so, but it will be like in an experimental mode for a long time with low limits.
But I guess for now, with the LP positions, are you guys, is the governance the only people allowed to LP in those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a multi-sig with team members. I don't remember, like 10,
So because there's
11
no
or
governance
so
token yet?
people. Yes, mostly yes, and we're not trying to hurry with that. Any rush is could be quite damaging, and we're trying to make
You don't have to
the
sell me.
product. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, but that's cool. So you get Bob, it's backed by and there's USDC in a pool that it's backed by, or USDC or BUSD now.
Yeah.
And then you mint this Bob. So it's basically, this is what we were talking about before. This is it's a coin that's backed by various stables. So then it sort of combines them, so the liquidity is hopefully higher for Bob versus the pool would be for any individual
exactly.
one. Right. Okay, so now that you own some Bob, now we're gonna go into the shielded state, right?
Yeah. So
So
there are two ways right now to to get these tokens inside the privacy pool. One is like a regular deposit that was introduced originally using the dApp. So the user opens zkBOB.com application in the web browser, on mobile, on a laptop, or whatever. And first of all, she needs to generate a new account, which okay. Of course, the most important thing is like just the expanding key. which pretty much the same as with any other privacy protocol, or with I don't know, Ethereum itself, but like in it's just like an entry time, 32 bytes of entropy and so on. But like the main thing is that we cannot use just regular wallets right now. We are trying to research this, like how do we use like hardware wallets and or maybe MetaMask wallet, because right now all of the privacy solutions like zkBOB, they have to operate with a private key directly, because those wallets, they do not expose any required API. For example, you cannot do any math on any curves besides like these ED 25 to 5519, which is used like EDDSA or ECDSA, and that's it. And since these curves are not snark friendly, and most of the privacy solutions right now use different curves for the cryptography, so we have to operate on the private key directly. So this is why.
Long story short, you need to upload your private key in there, and then you can't use normal addresses. You have to register a new. Is it the public key, or is this? Do you guys use something different?
So it's it is different. We have like a private key, and we have encryption key, which basically.
So is it like the Poseidon hash of the private key or something like that?
Yeah, it is. Exactly. So we do have these Poseidon hash, or the spending key is the encryption key, and we also have like right now we started to differentiate between the like encryption that you have to look when you send a transaction to someone else. You have to make like secret sharing protocol, like common secret generation. So we use Diffie-Hellman. So we need to try to send someone some bobs. Maybe we just like, okay, let's stick with the deposit right now.
Yep. So this you need basically a zkBOB address, we'll call it. And this, you know, like obviously if you're going to send it to somebody, you need to know their zkBOB address as well.
Yeah,
which is part of the hard issue.
Is like there is no like static public key as in opposed to the like Ethereum and so on. You just have this spending key, and the public keys can be diversified or randomized each time you receive some funds. So when you
it's a UTXO model, right? And that's just sort of best practice.
Yes, of course. Like as with Aztec or Zcash or like Railgun and Tornado, the main state model is pretty much the same. You have a Merkle tree, where each leaf of the tree is some transaction commitment. So in our case, the tree is 48. I would say, what is it? Every no, it's like I mean the number of rows is 48.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, levels. Yeah, and 41 of them are public, and they are stored in the contract on the blockchain, and the lower 7 levels are private, so they are not stored anywhere. Only the owner of a specific leaf, which is comprised of a transaction commitment and account commitment, account hash. Only they know what is there. Only they know the plain text data. that was used to calculate the commitment. So as with other privacy solution, you have a nullifier set that is stored also on chain, which used to obviously nullify some previous state. So whenever you for example make a deposit, you use your freshly made account to make a new leaf in the tree, which says this new freshly made account that is associated with some spending key, which has hash of something like this. Now has, for example, 10 bobs, and you generate a proof that this new Miracle Tree leaf was generated properly, that it is indeed valid, and of course the deposits are made in public, so the amount of BOB tokens is can be seen by everybody on chain. For all the transaction right now, we use a relayer. It's a centralized service for right now, but it is very limited in what it can do with user funds. Right now, we use like this is very important, that we use gasless transaction for the deposits. So the only thing you need right now is you just send a signature to the relayer that with a nullifier with for your like account, and it is used to prevent the relayer for not sending these funds somewhere else. So when you're like making a deposit, what you actually do is you say like, okay, the owner of these funds is gonna be the one who holds some spending key whose hash is this one. And of course, the relayer being the man in the middle could somehow try to steal these funds, and the relayer could send it to someone, like to himself, to like another hash of account. But using the standard signature thing, we like prevent this. So the only duty of the relayer is making the transactions gasless, as I said before, and also some of the
so this would be so like to explain the relayer. So like if somebody deposits BOB in here, it'll be like basically it'll credit your account with say 50 BOB tokens, and then if you want to send it to somebody else, you know their key, but you don't want to have to pass it through your account, because then you have to pay gas, and you also have to and you also dox yourself in that your
it's
address is there.
Doxing mostly, of course.
So what you would do is you would generate the proof offline, and then use basically you would just hand it to the relayer, who would then he pushes it on chain, and he says like, so if you're trying to send 50 BOB to somebody else, he'll say, well, I'll send them 49 BOB, I'll pay the gas, but I get to keep one of your BOB, right?
Okay. And also relayer is offloads some computation. So as I said, our relayer calculates the Miracle hashes from the layer 8 to the root, because it doesn't involve any private data at all, because like up from the certain level, all the data is just hashes of hashes and so on. So you like can delegate it to the relayer without any privacy leakage.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so after you so yeah, and there is a new way to make a deposit that we have introduced for if gender, I think so, yeah, which is called direct deposit or delegated deposit, which allows anyone to make just a regular ERC20 token transfer and adding some metadata, specifically the zk address, which we will address shortly. So you can just, like, there is a certain contract that is called zkBOB deposit queue or something like this, and you just can send 10 bob there, and after some amount of blocks or something like this, the relayer scans this contract, and it's just batches, makes a batch of all the deposits in this queue, and it sorts them into the tree. The main benefit for this thing is that now there is no interactivity here, so it can be used as a drop-in replacement for any stablecoin settlement you have.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, in any swaps, or so it can be just triggered with any event on chain. You can just, like, if you have a regular transfer, ERC20 transfer inside of your contract, you can pretty much add privacy without any additional like just for free, basically. So the only thing that is like is somewhat a problem right now is that you have to use this zk address that is unfortunately a little bit different from the regular addresses. And yeah, okay, I think it's time to go in some details into details about the zk address.
Sure.
So yeah, so whenever you want to receive funds, you have to generate some kind of public key, but of course you shouldn't have any static public key that you like give anyone around, because that would create a leakage, because they would could collude and try to link different transactions. So you can just come up with a random number, we call it diversifier, and add it to your encryption key, and these just a byte string that is composed of a commitment to the diversifier, and this public key is pretty much a zk address, and it also has some checksum just to prevent mistyping and so on. And so it is used mainly for Diffie-Hellman. So whenever the sender makes a transfer using some zk address, the sender adds some random diversifier on herself, and pretty much is the same as key generation when you try to communicate over the internet. So when she publishes the transaction, all of the data, all the metadata, I would say, about the transaction, the amount of transaction, the sender, all this is encrypted using these secrets from the both sides.
Yep.
So when receiver scans the blockchain, she has to try to brute force every transaction and check if she's able to decrypt it. Yeah,
So this
this
is
is one of
yeah, to explain this, you're kind of looping back after you get the addresses. Like if you send 50 bob to somebody, like how does the user know she has it, right? And
yeah.
basically she would, you know, she would take, if you want to tell how much your address has, you basically loop through all the events in the history of zkBOB and
Right.
see if you can decrypt any of these encrypted output messages.
Yeah. It's there is like a fundamental problem. If I remember correctly, it's called like blind indexing or something like
Yep.
this. So the problem is that you can't delegate like storing an index of your own funds. So the funds like um, I would say like a couple more words about the model of balances in zkBOB. So you have nodes and you have account. So it's pretty much the same thing, but yeah, it's not like it is UTXO, but the account is a UTXO where you can accumulate some change and which is somehow bound to your spending key. And the idea behind it was to make it incentive to make it to be able to incentivize users. So to incentivize users to transact and to hold the funds inside the pool, you have to have some identity for. So it could accumulate some, I don't know, reputation or something. We used to call it like energy token or something, just energy. So this account is somewhat bound to the spending key, and also you have just this a node which is pretty much the same as a UTXO, and it's shielded nodes in Zcash and Tornado, and that's it. So a shielded node is pretty much like just a balance, some metadata that about it that is encrypted, and some additional metadata that allows the owner and the receiver and the sender to decrypt its balance.
So I guess the other piece, you know, like I know, like what have you guys found? Like I know you were talking about like you want to rotate the addresses, like basically every time you would have a new one. Do you know like that was always best practice in Bitcoin back in the day as well, but nobody ever did it. Like
but like, if you don't do that, because these addresses they never really they never are shown in plain text on chain at all.
So you're okay if you stay with the same one, right?
Yes, you're okay because like if the sender if you try to optimize like these storing of the funds you have, for example, like, the main problem is of course with these like incoming nodes. So for example, you publish your zk address somewhere on a website, and you want like to receive donations, and like if you like in current implementation all of this protocol, if you wait for example for 100 years, then after 100 years you have to scan every event that was that has happened, and the only way the only trivial way to optimize this is like to have the senders to publish somewhere these zk addresses, but of course that would like make a trivial like link between the transaction, not only for you but for everyone else. So you can theoretically you can use the like the single address for a multiple for multiple transactions, and it's not that bad. But if those senders they somehow collude and use all this data like to and publish it somewhere else, then you're basically doxed. So yeah, getting back to the direct deposit. So yes, you give someone this zk address, they do a transaction that also has the zk address attached, and the relayer batches all the transactions and send them inside the privacy pool to the corresponding zk addresses. Now, what we want to do next with the zk address is we want them to be more compatible with ERC20, because right now, of course, no centralized exchange allows you to make these non-standard transfer with attached metadata. So the idea we have, and we will have an article about that in a short time, is that having the same seed phrase for zkBOB, you can basically instantiate the same derivation tree that is used for Ethereum and Bitcoin and so on. And you can basically generate a standard 0x address using the same spending key that you have. And this is gonna be like the same security guarantees as you have with basically any hot wallet. So you have the seed phrase, you have like some entropy that is they will use to make these seed phrase, and you have a bunch of these standard 0x address. So
Right.
what is the flow? You can just generate using the DApp. You can generate a fresh 0x address that is undistinguishable from any other 0x address out there, and you can make any transfer from centralized exchange or from any other protocol or any other wallet to these 0x address, and after that you can make a gasless direct deposit to the privacy pool. And
yeah, excited to see that one.
In some sense, this reminds of the quite famous stealth addresses that were proposed by Peter Todd in 2014, and there was a article by Vitalik early this year also. And,
yeah, we actually had Umbra Cash on. I think they do.
Oh yeah. Umbra Cash was
Yep.
I think one of the few maybe implementations that is really working in production, and you
Yep.
really can use it. And they have the same thing with the custom seed phrase that you generate, and they even have like the same algorithm. So everyone uses pretty much the same. Like you sign some specific message.
Yep.
With your seed phrase, and it is used to derive this child.
Well, to explain, I mean, they also have the same problem of like the address is different.
With scanning, yeah.
The address is different than the public key, and you still have scanning issues, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's
everyone has stumbled upon the same problems, because this problem with the scanning the history, it's like a fundamental problem that is not solved, and the problem is that the history is it's growing linearly.
Yep.
So after like certain amount of years, you will have to make it like a lot of work to do this. So we're trying to optimize it as hard as we can. I think, and it's if you have like a big user base, it's okay, because you can make several segments of your like anonymity set, and you mark it with some tags, and you can say that okay, this user has transactions only in this bucket.
Right.
Which is marked, for example, like with I don't know, with 1 bit of the encryption key. But if you have like a not very big user base, and but they like transact all the time, then dividing it in groups, that would significantly lower the anonymity set, and finally it will like just dox everyone. Yeah, so that's like a very big problem for everyone, and we're trying to solve it like step by step.
I think, yeah, I mean, I've always thought, like, I wonder, I wonder if there's any way that, like like 4337. So like you could use like some sort of account abstraction methodology to make this a little bit easier for people, so you have one wallet that has everything kind of included, but I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, but I would say like about like these privacy protocols like Umbra, like zkBOB, Tornado, and so on.
Yeah.
That is like the account abstraction before it was like mainstream. I would say like
No,
this is
completely.
like
Yeah.
like abstract account. So like there are some like these fundamental problems. So you cannot delegate anyone indexing all of these transactions because they will just know everything. This is like you can have like these fancy homomorphic encryption stuff, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same. If you can somehow fetch all of the transactions that belong to you, then someone else also can do this. Because if there is no way to identify yourself in Web3 right now, maybe I don't know. Maybe there will be some breakthroughs that will allow it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's going to be some curve, somebody do some math that'll solve it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
somebody smarter than us, it'll happen.
probably, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no,
But there
but
will
this is
be
cool.
also a long way to know from the concept from idea or from math formula to production. Because for everything that we use here is pretty much battle tested, and we are trying to be as skeptic as possible and never use anything that was just like I don't know invented a month ago. Even in Web3 scale, with this 10 years for a paper in
Yeah.
other like disciplines. 10 years is like nothing in cryptography. In blockchain, it's 10 years is like a different era. And
Yes.
so we were trying to use everything that was already battle tested and never expose our users to anything that is not thoroughly audited and not thoroughly tested at all. So yeah, we try to like it's not that bad if your user scans waits for 30 seconds more than if there is a bug or something like this.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, we're kind of coming up on an hour. Shocking. This has been great. What
Yeah.
what have we missed? I guess anything
Okay.
quickly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is. I'm sorry. There is a very important feature that distinguishes Bob from some other solutions. That is private transfer. So
Yep.
in Tornado and there is
What's similar to
it's
Tornado
no.
Nova, right?
Yeah, it's similar to yes, of course,
Okay.
yes, yes. But other than that, yes, we have come up with also a some opt-in provable reporting that user can use. So if you have to prove, so everyone thinks about the same thing right now. Also, so you have this Tornado spin-off with is called privacy pools. That
Yep.
is also thinking the same thing. How do you uh, make yourself look clean? You like how do you say that
Proof
like
of
even
innocence is what they call it, right?
yeah. Even if there are like dirty funds in the pool, how do I like say that they didn't have anything with me personally? So the problem with zkBOB is that we have transfers also, and we don't have also just the deposits. So we have made a feature that is called like a provable record, a provable history, where um, you can publish a hash of your encryption key. You can share it with someone else, and the good thing is that there is a way to verify that this history was not doctored in any way. So there is no records that were deleted or that were changed.
Yep.
So if
So
you have,
to
for example,
explain,
100 bob,
yeah. So I think what you're saying is like what you could do is if you put it in here and then you deposit in here and you trade around in a shielded state, what you can do is you can generate a proof that says, hey, I didn't touch this guy. He was, this shady
yeah,
North
yeah, yeah,
Korean
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever over here, and
yeah.
then you can pull it out and it
Yeah,
shows the
or
proof
you can
that
show
like,
that you have if you have somehow received these poisonous funds that you have burned it, because you can burn,
right.
use the protocol, but you can not spend decide not to spend these dirty funds.
But I think like
So
I
uh,
wonder how regulators will actually take that though.
yeah, that's the main question, because right now it's like it's. With the regular users, you can just go to them, in Discord and ask, "Hey, users, what do you want? Like,
Yeah.
what features would you like to see? Like, here is a poll. Here is I don't know, these mockups. Do you like it or not?" And the users will vote. They will write you feedback and so on. With the regulators, there is no such Discord, unfortunately. And furthermore, there are a lot of regulations in a lot of jurisdictions, and everything is changing all the time.
Well, I mean,
So
I
there
think
is
it's
no
just
single place they're used.
well, even that, but like ultimately though, like like this is like I had this debate a little bit with Ben from Umbra Cash, like like yes, your funds didn't touch this guy, but like you ultimately are providing that guy anonymity in the sense that you you know what I mean, like we said, if he was the only person in the pool, there would be
Yeah,
zero anonymity.
yeah,
So like
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
if it's you and him, you're like yes, you can prove you didn't have funds. Obviously, that's a bad example, but like if it's like only a few people, like anybody actually helps provide anonymity. So it needs to be
Yes,
like
yes,
more
yes.
than that, I guess you would say.
Yes, so this is one of the questions, because one of the points why it needs like this regulatory clarity
Yes.
about like what is the like criminal activity, illicit activity here, and who is like an accomplice and who's not, uh, and this is really hard to solve right now. So we have to be, I don't know, like proactive. It feels right now like not like about the one who makes a perfect solution. You have to come up with some solution, and it will be a lot better than having none. Because if you don't have any restrictions, if you don't have any functionality that allows users to stay in like the legal field, like that prevents any like illicit activity. If you don't have any, then it looks like it's more like friendly to the bad business out there. Uh, so you have to like it's kind of virtue signaling somewhat
Yep.
partly, and but like you have to make it like the entry level for bad business higher than and the average, or like any other solution, because like it's always the lowest hanging fruit for the regulators to, and for the hackers and bad business to be like, of course the hackers will use it and the regulators will ban it and they will somehow try to close it, and so on. So you have to try it at least, and I think the opt-in solutions are the best one, and the one of the main problems is how to make it more user friendly, because like these privacy pool in it's a good idea, but I don't see if like just a small recap. You have to choose like which funds you allow yourself to mix with, and which you don't allow to yourself your funds to mix with, like which outputs. But this is not like a regular user way, because it looks like a huge list of, I don't know, like 50 pages of some hashes or commitments. So of course everyone will just delegate it to the founders or the team or whatever, whoever will like provide like trust this thing. And everybody will use this anonymity set for everything by default. And what happens if this anonymity set won't be refreshed like quickly enough when the actual hackers will like flood the pool with like dirty money? Like nobody knows. Like
Yep.
and the idea is like on the paper, like theoretically, all the responsibility is on the shoulders of the user herself, but in the user interface, it always looks like the same as like, you know, with, like you have to read 100 pages of end user agreement and so on, and you always like just skip all the pages and you say I agree. And this is pretty much the same. Like I agree with that, with this anonymity set is okay for me, and you never know if there are any like bad business, bad funds that are there. So it's also an unsolved problem in the industry, how to make yourself like legally clean.
Completely agree. Yeah, no, it's a super tough problem, and I'm sure we could have a whole podcast hour long on that as well. So we don't need to go into it, but this was super awesome. I guess, you know, anything we can do to yeah, where can people find out more about zkBOB? Where can they go try it out?
Of course, you can go to zkBOB.com, or there are lots of links here. You can all the development is open source, so you can check out the GitHub page. The docs are they could be slightly outdated, but they are pretty good. And you can also always ask any questions in our Telegram group. All the dev team try to be as helpful as they can in the Telegram. And of course, if you want to integrate, and we're very happy with feedback from the teams that want to integrate with the zkBOB, just hit me up, or like just write something in hello in the Telegram. Welcome.
Well, as a financial disclosure, you guys gave me 50 bob when I met you guys at ETH Lisbon.
Oh yeah.
You had the little
this
card.
This is a legit use case. Yeah. This is like a physical cash that is one of the features that we also like promote, is like this that you can make a QR code that is can redeemable, and we also wanted it to be like used to like a physical cash that you can just give to someone, and that it can be used to pay for like merchandise or for a burger on the conference. That will be pretty fun also.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, I scanned the QR code, made a wallet, and got 50 bob. So it was nice.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. This was super cool. I definitely learned a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.